That's good, man. I think we should talk about everything that's happened in Denver last night, and also talk about how people can grow their marketing with all of these fresh storms across the country.
I think that's some wonderful topics to discuss.
Yeah.
And because it is live today, I can do something I haven't been able to do in a long time on Keeping It Real. If anybody has any comments or questions, this is being broadcast on my Facebook,
Yeah.
so I don't get all
Actually,
the
I'm
questions
gonna stream it to
confused.
mine as well.
Well, now that's just going to make my audience go up by millions. It's also on my LinkedIn and on the Keeping It Real YouTube. So I've got like one source of streaming for each thing. If anybody has any questions for today's guest, we can answer them in real time, which is one of the cool things about this. So anyways, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 116 of Keeping It Real. It's a special live edition with the one and only world's greatest roofer. And I'm jealous of that shirt. I'm not going to lie. That thing is like popping out at the camera today. And one other thing I do want to mention before we even get started. I had Matt Radford on here the other day. You're having a good hair day as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the one and only TJ McCormack. TJ, what's up, bro? How you doing today?
You know what, Chuck? I'm sitting here looking out the window. I caught myself earlier. I was in a meeting with Liz about an hour ago, and we'll talk about how Liz and I are meeting or why we're meeting. And but you know, I'm sitting here daydreaming. We had one of the biggest hailstorms to hit the Denver metro last night in a really, really long time. It's been almost 5 years since we had a hailstorm of that nature. And I'm sitting here still looking out the window at the roofs. I haven't been able to inspect because it hasn't stopped pouring down rain since last night. So I'm excited for the roofers. I'm sad for the people here in the metro that are going to have to go through this. But it's a windows, siding, fencing, gutters, roof. It's going to be all of the above.
Hey, if someone's got to help him, it might as well be someone reputable like yourself. So definitely, if you're there, that's the man you need to be talking to for sure. And I saw your videos last night, and it was like, man, TJ gets into, like, I don't know how you do it. You're a magnet for this kind of stuff, but like all the cool places in the world that people want to be seeing footage, you seem to be there. Like it can be anywhere in the world, and you just happen to be there at that moment. Well, it was great content that you were shooting. What kind of visitors were you getting watching that stuff?
You know, on that live broadcast, it was just like spur of the moment. You know, if I would have had like a little bit of a plan, like when I was filming the hurricane and Hurricane Ian, you know, we kind of knew, well, people knew we were going to that. So they had a build up to it. The hailstorm last night, we got a tornado warning at 4:00 on the dot. And I was outside filming, and you know that feeling when you know doom is coming.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm looking at the sky, and I can just see, like I could see it, and so I ran back to the house, and I just checked to make sure that my kids and Karina were locked in the basement, and that's when I heard the hail hitting the house. And so I went back upstairs, and I tried to stay in the door of the house there while I was filming because I didn't have anywhere else really. But for 12 straight minutes, we had 1 1/4, 1.5 inch hail hitting the house. It broke windows in our house and stuff like that. But for other people that have to go through that, as a roofer, getting to go through that myself again, I've been through hailstorms before, but a lot of times we forget the empathetic part of our journey, or what we're really trying to do is help other people. And a lot of times when I was just starting off in this industry, one of my first mentors is LC Nussbeck, right? And LC says, TJ, you got to remember what these people have just been through. A hailstorm for us might not be anything. Right. It might just, we just had an exciting experience, but these people just went through something in their life that they'll never forget. Or maybe it was traumatic. Maybe they were stuck in their car. Maybe a window broke and it scared them to death. And now they're thinking that this could happen again to them. Their house isn't as destroyed as what we might think of being damaged, but to them, it's actually it's something that they can't imagine. My house just got hurt, right? And sometimes as roofers, we think about the money signs first. I'm not saying everybody, right? but some of us don't put our priorities in place first. One of my very first calls working for LC was from the Plano storm in 2016 when that happened. And the lady's on the other end of the phone and she's crying and screaming her head off. And I'm like, listen, you just had a hailstorm, right? And to me, back then, that's all I thought about was just a hailstorm. But they had cantaloupes coming through their roof and just destroying their houses. But what I'm trying to get at is, although we had a major event here in Denver, you guys, if you're coming to work this event, remember that these people are just people and they're not, roofers or storm chasers or people like us.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we do lose sight of. You see this huge storm and it's like, all right, we're going to get caught up on all of our bills. We're going to have money in the bank this time next year. It's going to be amazing. And we all, we live that life, but you're so right. I mean, someone gets hit with that, and it's a life-changing thing. It's something that's completely different. And I think that a lot of times we get so far detached from, that perspective, just because we've been on the other side so long. Right. And a lot of us, it's not that we don't care. It's just that we sometimes just completely lose sight of that. And it's a good lesson for sure to keep in mind that we're working with people. That's what we're here to help. So
approach them with, instead of approaching them with, hey, I know you just had a hailstorm and you need an inspection of your roof. Try to fill in their shoes for just a second and approach them that way. And if you come at them with a different angle, maybe they're going to be more open to you. The news is already telling people to watch out for fly-by-night company. They were doing that on the 11 o'clock news last night. They were talking about which roofers you should go with versus which ones you shouldn't. And I was like, it hasn't even stopped hailing outside, and they're telling you to dislike roofers, right? So just remember, if you're going out there, that there are people out there that are going to be against you, but be a reputable company or make sure that you're doing the right things when you're out here in Colorado. You will get swept up with our SB 85 if you don't collect your deductibles like you're supposed to. So make sure that if you're in the Colorado market, that you're collecting that money. Like, why would you want to give up a possibility of $1,000, $2,500 that should be going towards your bottom line of your business?
It makes perfect sense to me. I don't know. That's one of those questions I've never been able to get the straight answer from anybody on, but I don't know. I agree. Do things the right way, homeowners, and you'll be just fine. Right. And you're getting advice from one of the top guys in the industry here. So that's very trusted advice. Let's shift gears just a little bit here. I know you're a busy ass man and I appreciate your time. We came on here today because you've got some stuff coming up. We have got some stuff coming up.
For sure.
And I want to talk a little bit about that. And the first thing I want to mention is I had Matt Radford on here last week.
Rad Matford.
And he is like super excited. He's the and you're the perfect guy for this. I think we talked about this the last time you and Nick were on. We need to set up some sort of a DIY measurement Olympics. Yeah. Oh, there's like legit trash talk going on Keepin It Rio. Nick and Matt, they're ready to go at it. And
I bet you the Signs Global people, probably Latisse people, like there's a bunch of people out there that would compete in this, and they'd be really good at it.
I think I'm fair. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't maybe put myself in the Olympics, but I'm like junior level. I could compete probably locally here in San Antonio with anybody, and my roofs are usually pretty good. So I think we should definitely do that. But the other thing that Matt was talking about was the event that you guys have started to, put into play. Yeah. And I think you probably had a pretty major role in this, because I know over the last year or so, I've seen your content where you were talking very actively about how we needed to transform the way that education is being presented in the industry, maybe bring in some fresh faces, make it so people can actually go to it, that maybe are on a budget or don't have, 10 grand to throw down for a weekend to go down to Vegas or whatever. And you've been working hard on this. So tell me a little bit about, the project, what you're doing, and, what we can expect moving forward from it.
Thanks for leading up to that. I'm coming into this event, which we're calling Rise 2023. from a very loving place for our industry. I'm not going to talk about anybody else's events because that's just, it's not helpful. What we're trying to do is give an educational experience to roofers across the country, from Fort Lauderdale to Houston to Atlanta, Minneapolis, San Diego or Carlsbad area, and then also up into the Pacific Northwest and Seattle, an opportunity to come to a day-long event where they're going to get to listen to some of the top people from both the industry as well as in their area, the local influencers, if you will, who are doing something great out there in their marketing, in their process, in their sales, or just as humble or great human beings. When I first started thinking about coming to work for Roofr, which was back pre-August of last year, Richie and I were discussing the events that I was putting on back then, and Richie was really wanting to put on events like this. I'm not the only one responsible, and if I told you right now that I was that everything in this event was me, then I would just be telling a lie. Mal and Clarissa and the rest of our team, the events team over at Roofr, have put blood, sweat, and tear hours into creating this. It's very much put together and well thought out. Like, I went after and got 27 people from across the industry that I have been watching myself and have been seeing their growth in their businesses. And I love what they're doing. But sometimes a lot of those people might be overlooked for an opportunity to speak on a leadership panel somewhere else, right? But also, I feel that as if those people have something to offer. And I learn differently from many people. So why not have 6 great people tell you what they're doing instead of just telling them about themselves, right? Let's learn something about it.
Yeah, and I think that's so awesome. And I love the fact that you're taking people from local markets and putting them in there. Yeah. Let me ask this about that whole process, TJ. Like, you're getting some new people. Some people have, kind of been around a little bit and you've seen, but there are some people that are just completely brand new coming out of the woodwork. Yeah. What kind of reaction or response are you getting from people, when you're calling and saying, hey, this is something maybe you would be good at? Would you like to take a shot at it? Is everybody pretty receptive to that? Everybody pretty open to doing it and willing to put themselves out there? Or have you had any, I'd like to, but type scenarios?
But let's just say this. I called on 29 people. 27 said yes. And those other 2 people, not to take anything away from them, one said he was entirely too busy. And the other one says, I don't need to be on a stage, which is completely it wasn't somebody that actually knew me. It was somebody that I had reached out to. And that's that they're allowed to say no. Right. But the other people that did say yes I was like thinking about how they would feel. And I got more humble reactions than you would imagine. I privately, the conversations that we had, were really great because those people would never, they've told me that they'd never thought that anybody would choose them to be a leader in that topic. And I'm grateful that they feel that way about this event, because the more love in this event, the better. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really cool because you're right. You're giving people a voice that may have been overlooked or may have never even been considered for these things. And that's just going to strengthen our entire industry. I think the more fresh perspectives we can get from people and, just understand a little bit more of everyone's viewpoint. You've got a very nice blend of backgrounds and stuff in them. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, you said there's six cities. It starts Fort Lauderdale next Wednesday.
I can't believe that I'm going to be getting on a flight Monday to start this.
Right. And it's going to be one of those things that goes by super fast. And you do these events a lot. So that, you get going and you're in the heat of the moment and you don't really see what's going on. but you're going to get all kinds of footage of it, and you're going to go back and look later and say, wow, that was really game changing. What kind of crowds are you expecting at the events? Are you getting like, decent sized venues? What are you looking to do there? Is it more quaint? I figure with Roofr now and the way that Roofr has blown up, y'all are probably about ready to fill Madison Square Garden, I think is what I told Matt the other day. So what kind of crowds are you expecting from the road show? And,
look, events are we're at a spot right now where we don't know what's happening with events, right? Some events people are really attending, and in some events people aren't. And it's been hard to try to figure out why people have just stopped attending them. But with our event right now, the first 2 stops in Houston and Fort Lauderdale, we're looking at just around, hopefully around 100 registrations. I don't want to give you the exact number that we're at, but I'm hoping that we even pass that number. We're the last weekend prior to the event, but I'll say the numbers are looking really, really good. And I think that we're going to be able to help a lot of people. We did put a small price tag on it of like $25. And the reason that is because we don't want to order a whole bunch of food and then nobody show up, right? So we were kind of just trying to hold people accountable in a sense that, it's only $25, but still it gives us an opportunity to know for sure that they're going to show up. So yeah,
it's an investment. And I think that's really amazing because, like Matt said, free is free, and you just hit the nail on the head. A lot of people can say, oh yeah, for sure, I'll be there. But the day of,
right,
I've got a headache, I've got a hangnail, whatever, I don't feel like going. And then you're stuck holding the bag for that. So it's pretty smart to have that investment.
Yeah.
And I think $25 for a full day with all the speakers that you're going to have that's still an absolute steal, ladies and gentlemen. So
I would pay that just to hear Liz speak at Business 411. But just let's talk about Fort Lauderdale real quick. Like Fort Lauderdale has Bob Marsh. It has yours truly, me, right? It has Chris Scoville. But then it'll also have Liz, Corey Combs, who is one of the biggest roofers in Florida, who doesn't even use insurance in his process. And then you got John Brose from Ugly Roof, Jamie Yoshida from Aspen, and then River Tunnel, the owner of Shield Tech. And I think I said Chris Scoville. I just want to make sure I said Chris Scoville.
You sure did. Chris deserves mentioned twice for sure.
Yeah, man. But Houston, like I'm really excited about Florida, but Houston, there's going to be a segment in Houston that I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's going to be between me and David Taggart. And it's going to be one of those 20-minute segments that you're not going to want to miss in your life, because I think he's going to bring the heat, and you're going to, it's going to be something special. So
yeah, if you've ever been in a room and had a conversation one-on-one with David Taggart, he's going to bring the heat, and it's like, be prepared, because that's going to be worth the price of admission itself. The only bummer about the Houston event is I'm actually going to be in Fort Lauderdale for the first one, and then the Business 411 event is the very next day in the same venue. So I get to spend 3 days down there in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm pumped about that. I'm sorry I'm going to miss my home market, which is Houston, but I can't wait to see the Fort Lauderdale event, to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Roofr has been so cool to me over the years, and I'm just so happy to see this all kind of develop. And the partnership, I guess, is what we'll call, that you have kind of forged with Business 411.
Right.
That's something that's got me like super excited. I had no idea about any of that until it was starting to get announced, and it was like, man, these are my 2 favorite companies in the industry working together. So tell me a little bit about that and what the dynamic is and how that all came together.
Yeah, respectfully, I love Liz to death. I always have. It very much respected friendship. And I met Liz in a bar in a small casino in Las Vegas during a Grant Cardone event. So if you're imagining a bunch of roofers, I didn't know Liz at the time. She texted everybody. She's like, hey, let's meet. And like 6 or 7 of us, it was me and David Summerly and Liz. And honestly, there probably were some other people that I should remember that were there that day. but I don't remember. My memory's going as I get older. But Liz has always been huge in my come up as well, with Business 411, sponsoring World's Greatest Roofer. And then, I was looking at who is doing some amazing things in our industry right now, in particular with branding and marketing and design and process. And, Liz just won the female CEO of the year. And I was like, this is my opportunity. I called Liz and I was shaking on the phone. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And would you please join me? And she's like, of course. So, Liz is going to be a part of the event, where we're doing, let's just say, we're going to have an interactive part of our event where Liz is going to lead a discussion, and we're going to interact together, and it's going to help us all be a little bit better. I'm just being a little selfish on what I say, because I want to make sure people that are coming get the full experience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that right there, all you have to do is say, this is what's about to happen. And that's that's the price of admission. Yeah. I love that so much, and it's that whole wave of new technology, new mindset, new education in the industry, and seeing everybody kind of link up and work together to make everything better is just, it's incredible, TJ. I've been in this for 25 years, and I never really thought that I would be in a spot where I could just watch stuff like this happen and be like, you know what, these are all my friends and they're making huge differences in the industry. I get to have a little tiny role in that as well.
Yeah, we're all here for a reason. We're all brought together for a reason. And the more people that you can put in a room together to break bread with one another, and do, these events that we've been coming, like the events have been going on since somewhere around like 2013. Most likely they've been having roofing events for about 100 years that we just, there's no, there's nobody talking about them, or there's no flyers from them. But I'm certain there was events, prior. But with the way that the world has changed, post COVID, the way business, we lost, hundreds of thousands of businesses with COVID. Like, people are learning differently, and they're wanting to be around each other in a different way. So I think that these smaller localized events will be king one day, because you're able to reach that many more people. And again, like you said, a lot of times people don't have $5,000 per person or per salesperson to put them on a plane, put them in a hotel room, feed them the entire time that they're gone. Most likely they're going to hit up a party or two, right? That's going to be another $4,000 or $5,000 night. And it just doesn't make sense for a roofing company that has 100 people to go to that type of event, or to bring all of their salespeople, which then they don't end up getting educated because only the top people in their company got to go.
That's a great point, my friend. Yeah. And let me ask you this. Okay, that brings up a perfect segue to my next question. What is the target demographic for Rise, a Roofr Roadshow? Is this a sales type thing? Is it ownership? What's the perfect candidate, for getting in the door, who can gain the most value and benefit the most from it?
Let's say this. It's going to be for owners, but it's also going to be for anybody on the sales side, marketing side, process side, people in the business development side. So we didn't want to just limit it to the owners, right? Because typically 20% of your crew is going to own a roofing company one day, right? So if that's 10 people, 2 of them are going to go start their own. So, but that way, we're not just only talking to ownership, we're talking to future leaders as well. And then, the opportunity to meet our sponsors. All of them are going to be bringing something to the table, whether it be ABC, Good Leap. We've got, Square Dash, Coastal Claims. Goodness, there's so many. Signs Global. I'm not even looking at it right now, so forgive me. I'm not looking at the screen, but there's so many sponsors that are deserving of the people that will be also networking with them, because they were the ones that made this free, if you will, or very cheap for them to attend. So
I love it, man. And this is so exciting because it is going to change the way that things are done. And I think that the larger scale productions, as they are, I think are going to start to go the way of the dinosaur. Unfortunately, I feel like you're starting to see that trending downward a little bit.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There was a time and place where having huge events and everybody getting together was the most cool thing in the world.
Yep.
And I think as we've continued to evolve, it's like, hey, okay, now we can actually maybe learn a little bit more. I'm super excited about Liz's event. I'm going to be there for that. And
I'm teaching at that one too.
See, that was going to be my surprise. It was like anybody that's not signed up yet that I've been talking with, this man right here, who's the most viral human being in the industry, Mr. 300 million views or more at this point. That was probably like last week. And that's just going to be more value.
Yeah. You know, I look forward to being able to reach more people, to educate them on how to organically grow themselves and properly market their businesses the right way. You know, a lot, like I said earlier, a lot has changed in the past 3 years in the way that we do things and the way that social media recognizes us, both in business as well as in personal. And people can make a lot of money just putting themselves on camera like we're doing right now. Like there could be somebody watching at home that maybe has never seen me before, and now they're potentially going to like either Roofr, or they're going to follow me and watch World's Greatest Roofr, and they're going to learn something. And that's where they're successful at that. You know, I never thought 2.5 years ago when I started World's Greatest Roofr that I would ever be seen by that many million of people. And still, I still try to, like, I go to bed at night and then sometimes I lay there and I think about it and I'm like, I can't believe that 400,000 people want to watch or watch one of my videos or learn something from me. And it still is surreal to me. So it's, I still take it like, oh my goodness, it's not that important, but really I have a huge responsibility to a lot of people.
Yeah, and you are standing up and taking the ball with that responsibility and running with it. I mean, you've literally been at the forefront, and I definitely understand that Roofr is a huge, massive team.
Yeah.
But you are the one who was vocal about doing this stuff and have been out there in the public eye, putting it together, and you know, all the passion that goes into it. So definitely respect that, man. Nothing but respect.
I'm lucky that that Richie and the Roofr team, it's not just Richie, right? We have 105 employees now. And all of those 104 other people besides me make me look great. Those people are truly everything that Roofr is about. And they crush it every single day. Like I can't express how hard our team works to make sure that roofers have a great experience in their day-to-day. And it's only going to get better with the CRM launch, and then, you know, potential new products down the road, potential new partnerships that we're all working on. Like there's some great partnerships that have just formed with ABC and Goodleap. And then, you know, I can't wait to talk about the other people that we've been speaking to. Of course, I'll let Richie be the forefront of all that, but there's really a lot going on, not just with Roofr, but within the entire roofing industry. And you have a really great way of doing business now with the technology that's available to you with that, whichever company you choose to work together with for your tech stack or for your tech products. Just make sure that you do yourself a favor. And when you're trying to choose the right technology or the right tools for your company, that you're not leaving others out. You should definitely go and inspect what you expect in a company and not just pull the trigger on the first one that seems great, or maybe your friends are using this one. You know, you have an opportunity to look at things and buy for yourself instead of being influenced into a decision.
That's always been the Roofr mindset since day one. Literally, it was always like, yeah, we're good, but everybody else is good too. Try them and see what they've got. And, you know, I respect that. It's an open market, and if you're good, people are going to come to you regardless. So that's a great way of looking at things.
The DIY, I know that we were talking about DIY earlier.
Uh-huh.
If you can become great at DIY in your company, you can do a hip roof in about 20 minutes. And that's not even like, you probably do it quicker. But I'm just saying, if you get good at our DIY or uploading your own drone image and measuring it yourself, it becomes really cheap. And the people that are spending thousands and thousands of dollars a month on measurements, maybe they could look at it a different way.
I agree. I think that Roofr changed the game from that perspective, and it's absolutely first in class. No doubt about that. Let's start winding down a little bit. Like I said, I appreciate your time. I saw your calendar today. I know you're the busiest man in the industry. Let's just kind of wrap up a little bit here with the road show. Sure. You've got the 6 dates coming up. We've got Fort Lauderdale, Houston.
Next Wednesday and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then we've got
Atlanta and Minneapolis in June.
Uh-huh.
And then Carlsbad, California, and Seattle, Washington in July.
So you guys are going to heat up the summer big time. You've got special guests at every single event, local speakers, as well as established industry. That's really cool. Let me ask you one thing about the roadshow. If everything goes according to plan and it's a success,
maybe what? Look at it. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn that.
No worries. That's like I said, you're an important man. Everybody's talking to TJ.
No, I was actually what I had it on my phone, our podcast.
Nice. So, hey, you're one of the ones that's watching. I can appreciate that. I can definitely appreciate that.
Engagement is key.
Engagement is key. And I will mention something about that before we end. But if everything goes according to plan and everything goes perfectly, which we know it probably won't, you're going to have some kind of a hiccup somewhere along the way. Is this an event that you're looking to maybe continue to grow into a larger scale in the coming years?
Yeah.
Kind of keep it at a summer type event, or what, what's the ultimate plan for the road show?
I've heard some rumblings that we might be taking this road show to Toronto for another one. So there might be a 7th one. So stay tuned. Maybe, right? We're talking about it. But there's also next year where Richard would really like for us to grow this into something that we do maybe one a month or several more than what we're doing this year, and do them on a larger scale in those local areas. There's some great manufacturers and other people out there putting on some really amazing events for their roofers. And I think we would like to be a part of that as well. And the more people we can educate, the better. And of course, it doesn't matter if you're a competitor's user, we still want you to come to our event. This isn't to be sold. This is actually, we want to make sure that you leave better with more understanding of the industry or technology in a whole, and come enjoy the camaraderie and networking. So.
There you go. That's a heck of a sales pitch right there. And I think if you are in those areas and you don't show up, you're crazy. So that's my endorsement for Roofr, for TJ, for everything that he's got going on. If there's anybody that's watching right now that's in those markets that wants to attend the events, what is the best way for them to obtain the authority to do so?
Easy. You go to roofr.com/rise. And I'll put it in the comments right now here, but it's real simple. All you got to do is just hit up the website, choose the city that you want to attend, and click on the 10 button, and it takes you about 30 seconds to register. And I just put it there in the comment. And so just hit that website up, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week or in a couple of months. So a huge initiative that I want to talk about that I'm really working on is if you're a roofer out there putting on any type of roofing system and you would like for me to come out and film it or do some sort of education with you, please let me know. I would really like to come out and spend a day on a roof with your crew and showing why you're great. That's a huge initiative of mine this year, is to be on as many roofs as possible, showing why roofers are great. So
yeah, that's awesome. I saw what you were doing the other day with the EuroShield roof, and
yeah.
it was pretty cool to watch. That's a product I wasn't familiar with until you put the video up. So
Yeah,
thank you
that's
for
what I hope
that.
to do, man. I hope to be able to do that on every roofs and every specialty product out there. Hopefully there are some manufacturers that are watching right now that haven't had an opportunity to speak with me. But if you're out there and you've got a specialty type product, I'd like to film it and show it to the world. So,
yep. Hey, just off the record, one
yeah.
year ago today on my Facebook memories was a F-Wave that I put off like 350 M80s on. And I did the whole video live where we exploded it. We came back the following Monday and it was like nothing had ever happened. So that's just one of those little videos that it'll live on in infamy. TJ, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for taking time to be on here today. I know you're busy. Like I said, I saw your schedule is stacked. Let's check out now so you can go get a ham sandwich or something and get ready for your next round. I will see you personally in Fort Lauderdale here in a couple of days. I'm looking forward to that. And it was announced here officially that TJ will be one of the special guests at the Business 411.
Yep.
2-day class as well. He'll be there the first day. So anyone that's attending, there's your extra value that I was telling everybody was going to be. So
I'm going to be teaching after lunch on day one. I'm going to make sure I keep people awake after they get all that. I'm sure there's going to be some great Spanish food. Liz never lets us down there. So
I'm excited. I'm going to go on my fast right now. It's going to be like a 7-day fast. So I'll be nice and hungry. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. If you're on the fence, just do it. It's well worth the time, the investment. Come a day early and go to the Roofr event as well. That's where all the cool people are going to be next week in Fort Lauderdale. So awesome. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. Thank you, TJ. Thank you for Business 411, for Roofr, and for everything that's associated with Keeping It Real. We appreciate you. Until the next time.